Welcome to LSC. It's Sports Time. I'm your host, Bob Hintz. Today I have with me Greg Day, former Bethel Bruin and a former coach over at Phoebus High School. Welcome, Greg.
Thank you very much.
Glad to have you here today. Talk a little bit about you starting off and how you got involved in athletics. Did your dad have a lot to do with that?
Yeah, he was my rec league football coach, and all the way up until junior high. Then I played for Gordon White over at Lindsay.
Gordon White. That's a name that comes from the past.
Yeah, we got all kinds of trouble for calling him Flip.
Because he did look a little bit like Flip Wilson.
He sure did.
And while you were doing this, but you were not just in football. You did other things than football.
Right, Little League and just neighborhood sports and with the kids in the neighborhood and just, well, I started wrestling at a early age.
Well, did you go through, was that when the Northampton League was real big in the wrestling?
They didn't even have
Okay, so how did you get into the wrestling?
At Bethel High School coaches were not recruiting, but, you know, soliciting younger kids at Jeff Davis Junior High.
All right. Now, when you played over at Jeff Davis, who was your coach over there?
I didn't play any football at Davis. I didn't start playing football till I was in 9th grade at Lindsay. I got transferred from from Davis to Lindsay.
And that's when you played for
Coach White.
Gordon White.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you go to Bethel High School and you get to play. At first, you're over there under Coach Bolin Shoop.
Right.
And he was the head coach, and Kaz was the guy that ran around like he was nuts and all the linemen. I mean, but he had a method to his madness, didn't he?
Most certainly.
Tell me a little bit about that experience, because you were basically under him as a lineman. Right.
He was very energetic and highly active in coaching. So
right.
He was like a hands-on guy. And I mean hands-on.
Well, you know, and of course I was over there at the time, but I was told that he, you know, sometimes put on a uniform, get out there and hit with you guys.
Hey, he was young then.
But that must have been quite an experience for you. And the what you learned from there and the fundamentals had to be coming from Coach Kaz and the different guys that was over there at that time.
I tell you, the whole time I was at Bethel, from JV all the way to my senior year, it was a learning process.
Right.
Fundamentals is where it's won and lost, really.
Absolutely.
When you teach fundamentals and camaraderie and, you know, just things that make state champions.
Right.
And they started it there, and that's where I learned from.
And then when Kyles takes over as your senior year, what was the feeling? Because you guys really didn't know what to expect, because was he going to change or was he going to be the same?
Well, you know, I didn't see a whole lot of change in him, except for he was the boss.
Right.
And one thing about it, we already had a real good nucleus of guys that played together or against each other coming up.
Right.
So we got along well as players, and the staff had to just show us the right direction. Right.
Now, talk about a little bit about some of the teammates, because you're lucky enough, Kaz is lucky enough to also, but you win a state championship. His first year as a coach wins the state championship. Talk a little bit about some of the players on that team.
Really, you know, I only have known one other coach, and that's Stan, to win a state champion in his first year back at Phoebus.
Right.
And Kaz is the only, he started it back in '74.
Right.
And the players, we all got along well. Robert Bowen was a tackle, Bobby Rash was tackles. We had small guards, Bernie West and Danny Shackelford, and we rotated people in. Gary Cobb was the center. He only weighed 160 pounds.
Wow, that's small for a center.
Right, and we had great talent in the backfield. We had Derwin Tucker. We had Byron Richards, we had Whitney Powell, Michael Dunn was the quarterback, of course. Everybody remembers Michael. And we just had a lot of defensive guys. We had Byron at corner, I think, and Michael was a safety, and Lionel Jordan, and Byron and Lionel are no longer with us.
Right, yeah.
But we had a lot of guys that got along well together.
And that was one of the keys that Kyle's always talked about, is how well the guys got together over there at Bethel High School, regardless of the race. And a lot of people was worried about it, but he said we never had any problems over at Bethel High School.
Great chemistry.
Yeah. Now, and you mentioned Bernie West. Now, he's still coaching over. He's
right,
coaching the JV team over.
Yeah, I see him all the time.
Yes, yeah. I run into him all the time too. Well, talk a little bit about that experience, because you got that final game was not cut and dry until almost the end.
Right. I tell you what, I called the defenses, and I was the nose guard. But when Kaz told me to go into a goal line defense on their 2-yard line,
they had the ball.
Yeah, they had the ball. We had just turned it over on downs.
Right.
Miraculously, after 3 quarterback sneaks, we didn't get in, and we lost the ball on the 2 or 3 yard line. And the first play that they ran was just a regular running play.
Right.
And they got out to about the 5, and we were in a regular defense then. And it was probably a 52 defense.
Right.
And then I got the signal from Kaz on the sideline to go in the goal line, and the bigger guys came in real quick. And next thing you know, we came off the ball, and they had a bad exchange between the center and quarterback, and they fumbled the ball, and we recovered, and rest history.
Right. Do you feel like that kind of shook them up a little bit with the different look on defense, and or you know?
I think it was a great strategy, because we needed to have the ball back to win, and the only way to get it was
you had to gamble a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So he made the call. We did it, and everything else happened.
Wow. Now, then you left and you went to Hampton University,
Mm-hmm.
you went to Christopher Newport, you went to Prentice School. You did a lot of things. You played sports, but then you end up going to the Navy for 3 years.
Yeah, I went to the Navy in getting stayed till 79. Then went back to Hampton University, and then I ended up getting a summer job at the shipyard, and I haven't left the shipyard since.
So you stayed down there. Well, you're making a pretty good living.
Yes,
but
great.
When did you start over at Phoebus as a coach?
Fall of '90, I believe.
Okay.
Same year Stan started.
Okay. So you were there basically when Bill was just really starting to get the people together.
Right. I think Bill started in
86 or 85 or 86, somewhere around there.
I think it's 86.
Yeah.
Right.
So now, so he's trying to get some, not only the athletes out and to believe they could win, but he also had to get his coaches together.
Right.
And he did a great job of accumulating some pretty good coaches over there.
Over the first part of '90, early '90s, actually I came there. Mike Tyndall invited me to come out there, and Mike was a JV when I was at Bethel. He was a JV quarterback.
Right.
And Mike, I saw him at Buckrow Beach one weekend playing volleyball outside his where he lived, and he said, "Greg, I really need you to come out here and help me coach JV football at Phoebus." I said, "Are you joking, or are you
serious or what?" Huh?
Yeah. And he said, "No, man, I'd like for you to come out there and meet Bill and the guys." And so I came out there the first day of practice that fall, and been there for 20 years at least.
Wow. But and been involved in every one of the state championships.
Right.
It's just unbelievable. Could you see the progression, how you guys were improving in the caliber of athletes and the way the coaches were all working together on one page? Because when you first get together, you got to figure out what it is Coach at that time Coach D wanted.
Right. Well, I tell you, from the early years, we had talent, and but there was talent that was really good, and then there was talent that we wasn't so good, but we made do. We still did well.
Right.
And I think the worst record since I've been there is 5-5 at Phoebus, and Bill, he ran a tight ship, and we developed, and we had meetings on what we could do to get better and everything.
Right.
And what we all decided was, hey, these kids need to be stronger, and the stronger they get, the more confidence they'll have, and better our chances of winning.
Right. Was that when you started doing the weights, or had you been there and he said we just need to crank it up, or?
Well, it was a collaborative effort amongst all of us, because we all did the weight room, and it was just that I was probably more of a pain in their butt than anybody else was. So.
Well, I've heard some athletes talk about you being the guy that got them to be stronger and quicker and all. So even though you were pained.
We were all into it. I was probably a little bit more adamant about it, and we. Through friends of mine that owned gyms, like Marty Lopez and another boy, Joe Mouts, they helped me gather equipment and get it at good prices. And we went in and arranged the weight room, got rid of the old machine that was in the corner, and started using more free weights.
Right.
And we have a few rehab machines in there for people that get hurt. Right. So, and we got them at a real cheap price.
But you also did some wrestling, coaching wrestling at Phoebus, and I didn't want to forget that, because everybody's going to look at you, they're going to zero in on the football, because that's where you had your championship runs. What was it like that first championship ball game that you won the first one? What was that like? It felt like off your back, or?
The monkey off the back, believe me. We had. For so many years, we've been going through the same progress. We lifted, we even changed up on some of the lifting, and days where we had lots of kids, we would try to figure out what days. Like Monday through Thursday was good days. Friday wasn't a good day in the weight room because everybody had other things to do. So we did away with Fridays.
Okay.
And
kept them concentrating on the 4 days.
Exactly. Okay. And Tuesday was a day that that was dedicated mostly for linemen, because we believed that you win and lose with the guys up front.
Well, there's no doubt in my mind you do. And I know that you've been so successful over there as one of the assistant coaches, and that just just been unbelievable. But now you're kind of walking away from it. You're going to retire, and because you got a 5-year-old, you want to be around him playing ball. But y'all got twins coming on.
Right. Yeah, we're happy about that. Crystal's really. We're going to do the doctor thing in a couple of days and do another sonogram.
Okay. Is there a possibility you might come back down the road?
I never say never, Bob.
Okay.
So
I'm going to miss you seeing you at the ball game. I'll tell you that.
Well, I'll be there. I'm pretty sure I'll be there. It just won't be in the capacity I was before.
But I always saw that pickup pull up and all the water come off of you and Dickie Van Dyke was always there. All right, this is the last thing I want to talk about. But let's say you're talking to a group of students over Spratley. They're getting ready to come to Phoebus. What would you tell them the keys are for them to be successful as student athletes at Phoebus High School?
One thing is to make sure you get involved. get involved in something after school activity. And it doesn't have to be football, baseball, basketball. It could be a club. I think that if a kid gets involved and he stays around good people, good things will come. I believe that Phoebus has all kinds of opportunities, as any other high school in Hampton.
Right.
But there is the high-tech program at Phoebus, which is really great for young people coming up. They have robotics and computer-aided drawing, and I'm pretty sure they have electronics there, and it's just a good school for young kids to come up in
and to be successful
and do well.
Right.
Yeah, and if they can't get an athletic scholarship, which we're proud that we do get a lot of kids in school through football, they
right.
get a lot of academic scholarships
right.
at Phoebus High School also.
Oh, appreciate you coming in.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Bob.
Well, I want to thank you for tuning in to LSC and Sports Time. I want to thank my special guest, Greg Day. I'm your host, Bob Hintz. Until next time.